Hi Lower Sixth, thanks for taking the time to watch this video and thanks for house staff for supervising you watch this video. So we felt this year it was probably more appropriate to do a virtual induction rather than trying to get the whole year group into the gym at the same time. So here we go. Sorry, inductions are a little bit boring, but I'm afraid that you must watch and understand this video before you can use the gym. And as you've probably got a drift of already, you're only allowed to use the gym at the moment in your allocated house slot or by appointment with myself. Please sign in with the supervising member of staff who will log attendance. If you're in a boy's house and your slot is during the day, that will probably be me. If you're in a girl's house, it may be somebody else. And then just usual stuff, please don't take any equipment out of the WFC, and obviously please, when we're using the gym, return equipment to its proper place after you've used it, and generally keep it nice and tidy for out of courtesy of the next group coming in. Okay, so just on COVID-19 health and safety in particular, obviously just be aware we're only able to reopen the gym based on the following measures being adhered to. So no more than 6 pupils at a time in the gym. And obviously once you're in here, it's important that you're social distancing. There's no changing facilities at the moment, so please come in your sports kit. Before you come over to the gym, collect a spray bottle from the sports centre, and then any equipment that you use, it's going to be your responsibility to clean that before you move on and anybody else can use it. Use the hand sanitizers when you enter the facility, and there's good floor signage. Just make sure that you're maintaining a 2 metre distance from each other at all times. So generally the equipment has been put into designated stations, and even the weights and the bands, etc., that are on those stations, please leave them where they are in them, so that we're not kind of moving them around, and we're just limiting risk in terms of shared equipment. There is a running water fountain that you can use, but please bring your own water bottle to use that rather than getting your mouth around it. And yeah, I've already touched on it, but there's blue roll or there's cloths provided in the gym, in the middle of the gym on a table. Please use these after you've used a piece of equipment and then dispose them in the bin. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up the rack safely to perform a squat. So first of all, we want to make sure that the J-hooks are at a height where the bar's going to sit just below shoulder level. So actually for me that is about perfect. I'll show you how to adjust these anyway. So you just lift and slide out. Okay? That's really important because we want to make sure that we're not going onto our toes to try and take the bar off, or conversely that we're not having to get too low to then squat the bar off. When we perform a squat, we always want to perform it facing into the rack. This is because we don't want to be backing up backwards when we're tired. Okay? Also, the safety arms need to be at a height that corresponds to roughly the bottom of your squat. So a nice way to test this out beforehand is maybe to just perform a bodyweight squat, see roughly where the bar is going to be, and then set those up accordingly. So I'm just going to move those up one. You can see there that I'll just slide in, and it'll just drop in. Just make sure that's in properly. Now just a safety point on the bar, loading the bar itself. You need to make sure that, so these bars can take 20 kilograms on one side and nothing on the other. Anything more than that and they'll tip. So make sure we don't put anything more than just 120 on. And you know, obviously when we're performing an exercise it should be loaded symmetrically. So I'll just stick some weight on. Always use the collars, so the safety clips, just give them a squeeze and they'll slide on.
in terms of setup, all the bars have got some grazing on them, like a knurl. You want to make sure that your hands are equidistant from the centre. So using this is a really nice way to make sure that you're in the middle. Okay, then as we go under, you're going to see how the bar is going to rest on the legs that's created by my shoulder blades. So not on the top of the neck. Okay? And you can see, because the bars are set up at a good height, I'm in a really strong position. I'm in my strongest position to be able to lift that off the rack. And then you'll go ahead and perform your squat. Step back, and then you send. So that's how to safely use the rack for a back squat. So a real accident-proof way of pressing the bar overhead is to use the safety arms. This is a really good setup for a military press or a push press or push jerk. And you want the bar, a little bit like the squat, to be below shoulder height, so well below. For the purpose of the video, I'm going to again demonstrate facing out of the rack, but normally we would be facing in to do this exercise. Okay, so we can set ourselves up for the press by coming underneath the bar into a little squat, and then the bar can rest on the chest. Stand up, elbows pointing forward a little, and then this way, when we're doing the press, if we fail, we can safely come back to base. And if anything was to happen, we've got the safety arms underneath. So a real accident-proof way of pressing overhead using the rack. Okay, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of bench pressing going on, so I'll show you how to set up safely for a bench press. So this, again, the setup's really key for this exercise. So you want to make sure that you position the bench such that your eyes are going to be directly over the bar in the setup. Okay, and then bar height-wise, again, you want to be in a position where you end up with an elbow joint angle that you're the strongest from, so that you can lift the weight off the bar. So for me, eyes under the bar, and that's a good height. It could maybe be one higher, so I'm just going to adjust that. So that's better. I'm just going to be stronger from that position. So grip width wise, again, we're going to go off the knurl on the bar. Okay, make sure we've got an even grip. Your grip doesn't want to be too wide, so somewhere in this region for me is good. And the reason it doesn't want to be too wide is because we want to be able to maintain elbows nice and tight to the body, rather than flailing out here, which puts excess stress on the anterior shoulder. Okay, so we keep things nice and tight. So quite a narrow grip, maybe just an inch in from the smooth bit of the bar. Okay, and now you almost want to imagine that we're trying to bend the bar up in the middle a little bit. This is the kind of force we're looking to put on the bar. Okay, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then from this point, you can take the bar off the rack and then perform your bench press. So you'll notice we've not got the safety arms on the bench press. That's obviously the reason for that is we couldn't perform a full rep if the safety arms were there. So what's really important is that you do have a spotter when you're bench pressing if you're going anywhere near even a sub-maximal weight. So the most important thing to remember is that spotting is not a passive process. Okay, I can't be stood over here washing. If something happens, it's too late. There's nothing I can do. Okay, so we need to be there with our partner. We can give them a little bit of help taking the bar off the rack if we want to. So 3, 2, 1, up. Okay, at this point, the performer's going to move the bar over their chest. I'm going to give the command, your bar, so they know that they're in control of the bar. They'll then perform the exercise. Okay, and if they get into any difficulty, I can just use my fingertips to help them back up and back onto the rack. So the platform area is to be used for your barbell compound lifts, and only these discs are to be used on the platform. These are specifically designed to be used on here. So we've got a couple of different types of bars. We've got a weightlifting bar, just a straight bar, and we've got a trap bar or a hexagon bar, and we can use both of these both of these bars to perform things like deadlifts and rows and what have you. So I'm not going to go through the intricacies of each exercise, but a kind of universal point is that we make sure that we are lifting with a neutral spine. Okay? So the setup really is the most important part of a deadlift. And what I mean by a neutral spine is just making sure that we're not lifting it with a flexed spine, like a rounded back. So this would be a bad position. And we're trying to get into the silverback gorilla position. So here, with the chest up. Okay. Now, not everybody can achieve that, and if you see some of your peers doing deadlifts with a bad setup position, encourage them to use the blocks. So, by elevating the bar a little bit, that makes it much easier to get into that safe lifting position. So again, here. Okay, just another note on the neck, just make sure that we're not extending the neck too much, keep that neutral, so just gaze at a point that's natural to your head position. So when we're using the dumbbell area, the most important thing is that the area is completely clear on the floor, and I'll show you why. So one of the most common injuries in gyms, often we'll be swapping dumbbells in between sets, and if dumbbells are left on the floor here, scattered around, we might often forget they're there. When we're performing our set, and we're getting quite tired, it's quite heavy, we're going to pop that down, and then end up trapping the finger in between dumbbells. Quite a nasty injury. So it's really important that when we're using the dumbbells, the whole area is clear, and it should only be yourself and your spotter in the area. Okay, so this is how we're going to spot somebody using the dumbbells. Okay, so presuming that they're using a weight which is fairly challenging for them, they're going to lift one dumbbell from the floor with both hands and pop it onto their lap, onto that left leg. Okay, that's perfect. At this point, they can lay back onto the bench, keeping both arms straight, and we can help position that over. Okay. and then you can take that into one hand. Okay, meanwhile, in fact you can keep 2 hands on the dumbbell for now. Okay, then as the spotter, I can lift the other dumbbell, pop that into the other hand, and kneel behind. Okay, at this point they can perform their set. And if at any point they get into any difficulty, I can just put a bit of support under the elbows. Okay, and once they've finished their set, I can take one dumbbell off them, and they can deal with the other one. Or take that one off. That's how we spot somebody using the dumbbells. Okay, so I'll show you how to use the leg press. This is where the weights are stored on the leg press, but this is not actually loading the machine. If we want to load the machine, then we need to move the plates onto these arms that are closer to the seat. Okay, once we've loaded up, you can jump in. Okay, then I'll slide yourself down right into the bottom of the seat. Okay, and pop your feet on the plate, on the foot plate, about hip width apart. Feet can be slightly turned out. And then you'll see you've got 2 handles here at the bottom that you can hold. Okay, so I'm going to press the plate away. And then to the right of me here, I've got another lever. Okay, if I move that towards me, it's moved the stopping mechanism, so I can utilise a full range of motion. So when I finish my set, just pop that stopping mechanism back using the lever to the far right, and then lower onto the stopper. And just for, finally for some reassurance, even if you don't have this stopping mechanism there, and you get to this point and you're not able to press this away again, there's nothing to worry about, because it'll just fold you up, but it'll stop there. Okay, so on all the pin-loaded machines, if it's yellow, you can move it. So the yellow bits are the adjustable bits. And you can see here we've got a weight stack, and we can adjust the weight using the pin. So you just have to make sure that the top one is pressed down before you can push this up, so push this in so the holes line up. So I'll choose a weight. And this is a dual leg extension and leg curl. So I can use the knob here to adjust the joint angle. So at the moment that's set up for a leg extension. I'll demonstrate that first. Okay, so slide in. So notice how I slide into the roller pad, right leg first, and then left. Okay, use the handles and sit up nice and tall, and then you can just perform your knee extensions. To change the setup for a leg curl or a hamstring curl, if we hold the bottom roller pad with our left hand and then pull this towards us, we can move that up to the top. Okay. This changes position just to account for leg length. With someone with a longer leg length like myself, you would need it in the extended position to make sure the roller is going to sit above the ankle at the back. Okay, some people might need it here. So I'll now just perform a silent demonstration of a hamstring curl. Alright, so similar to the leg extension, leg curl, we've got a pin-loaded stack. So again, if it's yellow, it's adjustable. So I can just alter the weight here with the pin. And also, I can alter the position of this all the way up or down. Okay. Again, using the handle there. So we've got multiple attachments. We've got a rope, we've got a handle, we've got straight bars, and we've even got an ankle attachment. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of things just with the handle. Just a carabiner clip. Make that a touch lower. Just again, just to adjust this, you just have to pull that out so that it will slide. Okay, so there's multiple exercises you can do on here. I won't be exhaustive, but you know, it's quite useful for things like torso rotations. Or obviously you could use this to perform some sort of single arm rowing movements too. Just make sure we always put the stack down nice and carefully so we don't damage the machine. I think that's everything. Okay, GLUTE-HAM raise bench. Again, quite a versatile piece of equipment. You can do lots of different exercises. Again, we've got the yellow to indicate that we can adjust. So just pull the knob out again, and then we can slide up and down, depending on your limb length. I'll show you a back extension as an example. Okay, so if I'm setting up for this exercise, step on, use the handles here, slide my feet in. Okay, and then at setup, the bony prominence at the front of the hip should be just off the pad. And then I can go ahead and perform my back extension. Notice how when I come up, I only go up to neutral, so just straight. I don't hyperextend at the top. So alternatively, if we wanted to flip around and work the abdominals, we can sit here. Again, slide the feet in. And it's quite a nice setup for any sort of flexion-based ab exercise. So you could do a hold, or you could make it dynamic. Again, lots of variations.